President Dan, dear Nicusor, it is a real pleasure to welcome you for the first time here to NATO headquarters. Romania has been a steadfast ally for over 20 years. Romania plays a strategic role in the alliance on the eastern flank, including the Black Sea. It's a vital region for our shared security. You host French-led NATO forward land forces, working together with allies to defend our eastern flank. And since the announcement of Eastern Sentry in September, we have brought together more allied forces and assets to protect our eastern flank on land, at sea and in the air. And this is crucial. In the past 7 days alone, Allied aircraft scrambled alongside Romanian F-16s, demonstrating once again NATO's readiness to deter aggression and defend our eastern flank, including with new technologies to counter drones. Whenever we are tested, NATO responds quickly and decisively. We are vigilant and prepared to defend every inch of Allied territory, and we saw this in recent weeks as we intercepted ballistic missiles headed for Turkey from Iran. We stand together and we have the vital capabilities we need to ensure our defense, including ballistic missile defense that you play a key role in hosting. But of course, we need to do more, which is why all allies agreed last year in The Hague to increase investment in defense. Romania already spends over 2% of its GDP on core defense, increasing to 2.5% this year. And this is exactly what all allies need to do: steadily increase investment. And it is not only about investing. We need the capabilities that those investments can buy. So we need our industry to step up, ramp up production. And here too, Romania is playing its part. In November, I had the pleasure of attending the NATO Industry Forum, which you hosted in Bucharest. It was an important opportunity to come together as allies and partners, along with industry, to expand our cooperation and to foster innovation. Working together to enhance our deterrence and defense is essential. And part of ensuring our security involves continued support to, yes, Ukraine. Romania has been a steady supporter of Ukraine, and I commend you for having signed 3 bilateral agreements with Ukraine last week, focusing on the co-production of defense material. And in a more volatile and dangerous world, our support for Ukraine has to and will continue. President Dan, dear Nicusor, I'm grateful to Romania for helping to ensure our robust posture on the eastern flank, from the Black Sea to the High North. I know, and all of your allies know, that we can count on Romania, and Romania can always count on NATO. Thank you once again for your leadership.
Secretary General, dear Mark, thank you for inviting me and for the very good discussion we've had together. We have, of course, discussed about Romania's security and the security of the alliance. Like Secretary General said, I reiterate for the Romanians watching us now the fact that Romania is a safe country, even safer. We discussed about new capabilities for the countries on the eastern flank under the Eastern Sentry program. We have discussed about the Black Sea, and NATO will hold a meeting on this topic of Black Sea and of our security hub project on the Black Sea before the major NATO summit in Ankara. We also discussed about the challenges that come from the hybrid area, where every one of us needs to do more. We have discussed, and I informed the Secretary General about the talks we've had with the Ukrainian partners. I reiterated our support for Ukraine, because it is not about Ukraine, it is about Europe's security. And of course, I have informed him about our agreement with Ukraine regarding the co-production of drones, anti-drone equipment that we have agreed upon. We talked about how important the transatlantic relation is to us, and as you know, 1 or 2 weeks ago, Romania took a very clear stand by deciding to host defensive equipment from the US in this respect. We are only allies when our partner needs us. Actually, this is what being an ally is all about. We have also discussed about the NATO summit in Ankara. Romania will stand by its commitments it made at the previous NATO summit in The Hague. We spent 2.2% of the GDP last year on defense, and in this year's budget we'll have 2.5%, and, very importantly, of this 2.5%, almost 40% will be dedicated to equipment, namely investments in core defense. Not least, I invited the Secretary General to the B9 summit in Bucharest. He accepted the invitation, so we will have him with us in May in Bucharest. Thank you for this.
Now we have time for just a few questions. We will start with ProTV.
Good morning from ProTV. A question for both speakers. Given the direct threat context that Romania has received from Iran, and given the constant threats we have at our borders due to the Ukraine war, have you discussed today about the additional security guarantees that our country can receive? And if so, what would these additional securities be, and when can we get them?
That's a very good question, and let me assure you, yes, we discussed it. And as the President was saying, Romania is safe. We will defend, as an alliance, every inch of NATO territory. As you know, the Supreme Allied Commander launched Eastern Sentry in September. This was a reaction to what happened in Poland and also Estonia in September. But particularly, that was a direct reaction to what happened in Poland. And what we are doing there, we bring together from the Black Sea up to the High North all the capabilities we have to make sure that we protect and defend our eastern flank. At the same time, because we do this, we will have better knowledge of where the gaps are we need to fill, what we need to do more of, and what we know is that we have to do more when it comes to drone and anti-drone technology. By the way, we are working closely with the Ukrainians because our Ukrainian friends, because of this terrible war they have to fight against the Russians, are gaining so much experience when it comes to drones and anti-drone technology. And in Poland we have this joint center, JTEC, where we work with the Ukrainians to capture all the lessons. So this will all be deployed on the eastern flank, in Eastern Sentry, also in Romania. And we discussed today how we can ramp this up, how we can speed this up even further as allies working together indeed to defend every inch of NATO territory. And Romania playing a key role here.
Looking at what the Ministry of External Affairs of Iran said with regard to Romania, they did not threaten Romania. They only spoke about political and legal consequences. So we are not in a situation different from what it used to be 1 or 2, 3 months ago. Romania is defended, is part of NATO, has a strategic partnership with the US, and with the additional US troops, Romania has become a safer place.
Okay, time for just one or two more questions. We'll go to Digi24.
Domnule secretar general, bună ziua, Cristina.
Secretary General, I have a question. Given that the US President is a bit disappointed, or a bit more disappointed, of a part of the allies because they failed to help him secure the traffic through the Hormuz Strait, will this impact in any way the involvement of US in NATO, and does the good relationship that you personally have with the President of US will continue? And a question for the President of Romania. When Romania decided to allow our ally, the US, to use the military base in Romania for the for the aircraft they need in Iran, did Romania receive anything in exchange in this negotiation, aside from more security for our country? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. A very good question. Let me tackle it head on. So, first of all, in my contacts with allies all over NATO territory, what I'm sensing and hearing is that we all agree, as we always did, that it was crucial for Iran not to get its hands on a nuclear capability, a ballistic missile capability, and what the US is doing at the moment is degrading that capability of Iran, and I think that's very important. This is important for European security, for the Middle East. It is vital for Israel itself. A nuclear Iran would potentially have been a direct threat to the future of Israel, but again, to the whole Middle East and to Europe. Then when it comes to the Hormuz Strait, everybody agrees this strait cannot stay closed. It has to open up again as soon as possible. This is crucial for world economy. It is also crucial because it's unacceptable if a key sea lane is closed, or it's so difficult to use that sea lane because of all the threats currently there. And what I'm, in my context with allies, are seeing is that they are intensely discussing amongst each other, with the United States and amongst each other, the best way forward to tackle this huge security issue. And let me add to that, that I'm confident that allies, as always, will do everything in support of our shared interest, as we always do. So we will find a way forward.
Da, după cum știți, au fost mai
As you know,
componente.
there have been several components.
Sau două dintre aceste componente
Two of them
scutul de la
strengthen our ballistic missile defense system in the Veselu. This is additional protection for Romania and for the part of Europe that the Veselu shield is protecting. We, of course, carry ongoing discussions on several levels with the US, but it hasn't been a negotiation, actually. It was a need that our ally had, and we hurried to fulfill it when they needed it.
And this is what allies do.
All right, and thank you so much for joining. I know we have other questions, but that's all we have time for today, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.